So hello, thanks for coming to Story Starters for little kids, for the younger kids. Usually I read a chapter book, but this book called One Grain of Rice by Demi is a beautiful book that is a little bit longer, and I just wanted to read it today instead of a chapter book. So One Grain of Rice by Demi. It's a very old story, and it's about how somebody outsmarted a king by knowing her math. So One Grain of Rice. I will read a little bit of the story, and I will show you the pictures because there are plenty of pictures in this beautiful book. Long ago in India, there lived a Raja who believed that he was wise and fair, as a Raja should. The people in his province were rice farmers. The Raja decreed that everyone must give nearly all of their rice to him. I will store the rice safely, the Raja promised the people, so that in time of famine, everyone will have rice to eat and no one will go hungry. Every year, the Raja's rice collectors gathered nearly all of the people's rice and carried it away to the royal storeroom. For many years, the rice grew well. The people gave nearly all of their rice to the Raja, and the storehouses were always full. But the people were left with only just enough rice to get by. But then, one year, the rice grew very badly, and there was famine and hunger. The people had no rice to give to the Raja, and they had no rice to eat for themselves. The Raja's ministers implored him, "Your Highness, let us open the royal storehouses and give the rice to the people, as you promised." "No," cried the Raja. "How do I know how long the famine may last? I must have the rice for myself. Promise or no promise, a Raja must not go hungry." Time went on, and the people grew more and more hungry. But the Raja would not give out the rice. One day, the Raja ordered a feast for himself. As it seemed to him, a Raja should show now and then, even when there was a famine. A servant led an elephant from a royal storehouse to the palace, carrying 2 full baskets of rice. A village girl named Rani saw that a trickle of rice was falling from one of the baskets. Quickly, she jumped up and walked along beside the elephant, catching the falling rice in her skirt. She was very clever, and she began to make a plan. What do you think she's going to do? At the palace, a guard cried, "Halt, thief! Where are you going with that rice?" "I am not a thief," Rani replied. "This rice fell from one of the baskets, and I am returning it now to the Raja." When the Raja heard about Rani's good deed, he asked his ministers to bring her before him. "I wish to reward you for returning what belongs to me," the Raja said to Rani. "Ask me for anything, and you shall have it." "Well, Your Highness," said Rani, "I do not deserve any reward at all, but if you wish, you may give me 1 grain of rice." "Only 1 grain of rice?" exclaimed the Raja. "Surely you will allow me to reward you more plentiful, as a Raja should." "Very well," said Rani. If it pleases your Highness, You may reward me in this way. Today you will give me a single grain of rice. Then, each day for 30 days, you will give me double the rice you gave me the day before. Thus, tomorrow, you will give me 2 grains of rice, and the next day you will give me 4 grains of rice, and so on for 30 days. This seems to be a modest reward, said the Raja, but you shall have it. And Rani was presented with a single grain of rice. The next day, Rani was presented with 2 grains of rice, and the following day, Rani was presented with 4 grains of rice. And now I have to stop reading the story because that's as far as I'm allowed to go. But I do want to show you a picture that comes later in this book to give you an idea what's gonna happen. Look at this big picture. I'll bring it up close so you can see that those are elephants holding bags of something. What do you think it is? And that is the story called One Grain of Rice. It's an old story, but we can learn a lot from it. Thank you for coming today for this reading of One Grain of Rice. Thank you so much for listening to this short story, and I hope to see you next time. And until then, see you later. Happy Thanksgiving.